Hi everyone, I'm Josh Smith from Trash or Treasure. I'm standing right in Birmingham, UK at EGX 2018. I'm going to be going around playing some games, most likely the bigger stuff like Persona 5, Dancing in Starlight, as well as, with any luck, Kingdom Hearts 3, just to try out the short demos for it. I think there's Toy Story World and also the Olympus World from Hercules. I'm also going to be doing my best to get some interviews with some indie developers, just play around with their games for maybe about 10 minutes or so and just ask them what inspired them to create their projects, and just see if they have any other projects going on later on. Hi everyone, I'm just here with Rodrigo, the tech director, and Rosie, the brand manager for the new indie game WarGroove. Beg your pardon, sorry about that. But first of all, thank you very much for taking the time just to answer some questions. So just first of all, how's it all going with the showcase? Is it all going very well?
Yeah, it's been really positive. We've had a really busy stall all day and all yesterday, so yeah, we've had a lot of people coming over, mostly playing multiplayer matches, so it's been like 8 people at a time.
And you still got one more day tomorrow after this as well, so a long day.
Yeah, very long days.
All right, so the first question is just how did this basically all start? Like, who was the brains behind WarGroove?
We were working on Starbound, and we were kind of wrapped up and thinking, what do we want to do next? And fancied a completely different game, completely change of scene, and we were really looking to play like a good Advance Wars kind of game, and there just hadn't been one for quite a long time. So we thought, well, we'll make one. It was quite a collaborative decision, but it was mostly our lead designer Finn, and then Jay, who is an artist in the team. They were like discussing what they wanted to make, and they're really big fans of Advance Wars, so they wanted to take that in essence and really make something that would appeal to people through that kind of nostalgia, but also push it with the technology that's available nowadays. So it's got all of the kind of multi-platform and sharing all your content and that kind of stuff.
Right, I see. So is that the general sort of theme of WarGroove? You know, aside from just borrowing a few elements from Advance Wars, maybe a little bit of Fire Emblem as well. Would you say that those were the main inspirations anyway?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, there's a few more.
Yeah, like we took inspiration from games like Shining Force and Battle for Westnoth. We took inspiration from StarCraft in the form of the level editor. So one of the things with WarGroove is it ships with the map and campaign editor that we used to make the game itself. And that was heavily inspired by how the StarCraft 1 map editor worked, which was a very accessible way for anyone to make cool maps. So that's available across all platforms on the game. You can make your own maps, upload them, send a code to your friend, or just browse online for popular content made by other users.
I imagine you get some pretty crazy levels then with the amount of power you've given to them.
Well, that's what we're hoping for. I hope we get some really cool things.
Have you currently got any edited levels showing up in the showcase at the moment?
So far it's just the content that we've made, and we're going to be still making more maps for people later as well. So there'll be some like developer-made maps that people can download, but I think the community will be really on it, because with our previous games like Starbound, we've had a big modding community and everybody's really loved kind of creating new content, so I think it's going to be quite fun.
Oh, that's brilliant. How long would you say that the single-player campaign would be?
We actually haven't fully estimated a campaign, because we internally have gotten really good at playing the game, so we can probably do it faster. But we're hoping for a substantial number of hours. I don't really want to commit to any numbers because I could be way off. But there is a lengthy single-player campaign telling the main canonical story of the game. And there's like side missions and a few interesting surprises there. And then there is an arcade mode. So the arcade mode, each one of the 12 commanders has its own like side, like a mini campaign for them. So they're fighting skirmish matches with other commanders, and you can get to experience what their encounters are like, what their motivations are like. So it's like mini stories. And then in addition to that, we also have a puzzle mode where you get this map full of units, and you have one turn to figure out how to solve it. So we have a lot of single-player content. I think we'll keep people busy for many hours.
So the puzzle mode is that the only time where the objectives are different? Are there no other different objectives in the main campaign?
No, in the main campaign, the objectives can be quite varied. So, for example, the mission we have available here for the players to play, the objective is to escort out your villagers away from the invading army. So, as they're spawning in, you have to ferry them across endangered territory to the safe zone. There's missions where, each mission really has a different objective in the game.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're playing the skirmish mode, either in local multiplayer or online multiplayer, then it's more the standard rules of the game of defeat the enemy commander or capture the enemy stronghold. But with user-made maps and user-made campaigns and our own campaigns, the system is very powerful, so it can be very complex things.
Oh, brilliant. So how proud would you say that you are of the final product as a whole?
I'm extremely proud. I'm very proud of what the team's done. It's just been wonderful to see today, like everyone really, really enjoying it. That makes me so proud of what everyone's achieved. And since it's a completely different kind of game to our previous game, it was a huge achievement, really.
I'm very glad to hear that. So have you got any other projects going on at the moment, or are you just going to lay off for a little bit?
We do. We have a lot on. So we have all of our published games around the corner here. Well, some of them, we actually have around like 15 games that we work with. Some of those are really, really early. Some of those are already in there, like already launched, and we're supporting them after launch. So it's a real kind of like mix, and we're very, very busy with all sorts of stuff. We do have one other game we're working on in-house. So we've got Starbound, WarGroove, and Witchbrook. Witchbrook I will say very little about, but I will just say that it is coming, it's very exciting. Yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Excellent. And have you got any extra content planned for WarGroove specifically, or is what you see what you get basically?
We'll basically investigate this after release, see how things go. But it's definitely something we're very interested in doing, additional content for the game. Although with all the user-generated content, I'm sure you'll never run out of things to play on.
That is very true. Yes, I'm sure that the levels could probably reach like millions across the player base. But thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we cut it right here?
No, I mean, WarGroove is coming on PC, Switch, Xbox One, and PS4.
Yeah. It's up to 4 players. You can play cooperatively, competitively, you can play asynchronously.
Yes, that's a good one.
Which is kind of like when you play online chess and you like leave someone a move, go away, come back, and then play against them again.
Yeah, you can have multiple matches at the same time if you're playing
matches at the same time. Yeah, there's just loads of different ways to play. It just suits a lot of different play styles.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time.
Great. Thank you.
Hi guys, it's been a couple of days now since I went to EGX, and I just thought I'd give my thoughts on the overall event and the games I played. And if Chucklefish happens to be watching, then thank you guys very much for the insightful interview, and I look forward to when WarGroove comes out. I'll definitely be playing that along with my brother and doing many competitive matches. Now, unfortunately, that was the only interview I had time to get, because by the time my brother and I got to play all the games we wanted to play, with a few exceptions like Beat Saber, because for some reason they closed the registrations pretty early. Yeah, and by the time we got to the actual interviews, we only had time for one, and we had to get our train back because we live quite far away from Birmingham. So as soon as we got to EGX, the first game I went to go and play was Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight, the upcoming dancing rhythm game with Persona 5 characters. This isn't the first time that Persona has gotten a dancing rhythm game. That honor goes to Persona 4 Dancing All Night, and there were 4 monitors for the Persona 5 and Persona 3 dancing games, because surprisingly Persona 3 never got a dancing rhythm game until now. I'm guessing due to the somewhat popularity of Dancing All Night. And there were 2 monitors for each game. There were 2 for Persona 5, 2 for Persona 3. But there were a lot more people interested in Persona 5, unsurprisingly. There were some people that did offer to go to the Persona 3 booths, because unfortunately Persona 3 was not nearly as popular and some of the staff had to come in and just ask, you know, any of you guys interested in Persona 3 Dancing in Moonlight at all? Anybody? And some people were just like, yeah, you know, yeah, sure, I'll give that a go. I don't really mind as long as I get to play something. So good for them. But I was personally more interested in doing Persona 5 because honestly I don't think the music in Persona 3 is very good. I know that some people really do like that soundtrack, but I really can't stand it. It's not very good. I think it's one of Persona's weakest soundtracks in the series. But yeah, for Persona 5 there were 3 songs that in the demo that you could play. It was Wake Up, Get Out There, which was a Joker solo song. And then there was Life Will Change, which had all of the Phantom Thieves together, rocking out. Ryuji on drums, Yusuke and Joker on guitar. And that was really funny because seeing Joker sing along to the song, I unfortunately didn't get footage of it, but it was actually pretty funny. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube somewhere. And the last song was Rivers in the Desert, which I got to play. And that's a exclusive song with maybe Joker or Ryuji coming in. And speaking of which, it's very weird to see Ryuji dancing, even though he's supposed to have a bad leg. But yeah, the game itself was actually surprisingly fun. I was very skeptical of it when it was first announced, and when I saw the trailers, I was thinking, what the hell have you done? What have you done to these characters I absolutely love in Persona 5? You're like demoting yourself to this Guitar Hero rock band ripoff. But surprisingly, I did actually quite enjoy it. But it was freaking hard, man. It was really hard. There were just so many button prompts on the screen that you couldn't really keep up. And it didn't really help that I was sat in front of a big TV, so I didn't really get to see the whole screen. So I didn't get to see everything happen. I had to keep moving my head around just to make sure I wasn't, I wasn't out of rhythm. But unfortunately, there is a problem I do have with Dancing in Starlight, and it was kind of a problem with Guitar Hero and Rock Band as well, but not quite as big of an issue. It's that you can't really focus on the dancers in Persona 5 because there are so many button prompts on the screen that you have to keep in time with. And with Guitar Hero and Rock Band, that wasn't as big of a deal because the band in the background was pretty much just that. They were just part of the background. They didn't really move a whole lot. There weren't many camera angles, and the animation was a bit basic, so it didn't really matter if you couldn't focus on them. But in Dancing in Starlight, there were, and I'm guessing this is the same for Persona 3 as well, but you couldn't really focus on the characters dancing, and it was a shame because it seemed like there was quite a bit of work put into the choreography. But yeah, other than that, I did surprisingly have an enjoyable time with it. It was way better than I thought it was going to be, and I don't know how they're going to be encouraging me to play the game more and just keep replaying the songs, other than just for pure satisfaction, or if it's anything like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, it'll just be when, I'm a bit bored and I've got nothing else to play, why not just rock out a little bit? And as expected, immediately after I did Persona 5, I went to the Kingdom Hearts 3 booth, and it was just as long of a wait as I thought it was going to be. In fact, there was a sign as soon as you enter the booth, as soon as you get to the start of the queue, saying that it's going to be at least an hour long, because when you actually sat down to play the game, you had about 20 minutes to play either the Toy Story world or the Olympus world, which is the boss fight against the Rock Titan, both of which were fairly short. Toy Story had a little more substance to it because of the extra cutscenes and stuff, but I knew that since I had only 20 minutes, I skipped through it, and if I had a bit of time left, I would go back to it and watch some of the cutscenes. Now, Kingdom Hearts 3, unsurprisingly, was freaking amazing from what I did play. I absolutely enjoyed both campaigns, and my god, it was absolutely gorgeous to look at. And if the gameplay is going to be anything like what we played in the demos, then oh my god, we are in for a treat. I had an absolute blast playing both worlds. Toy Story definitely more so, because not only was there some Heartless to fight, but you've also got to step into these robot mechs and just shoot a bunch of toy Heartless. Unfortunately, that part I felt was a bit longer than actually slaying the Heartless, which was a little disappointing. I mean, it was fun for a little while, but it did drag on a little too long, and it was a shame that it took a huge chunk of the demo in terms of gameplay. Otherwise, most of it was just cutscenes and a little bit of Heartless slashing here and there. But what I did get to play, it was really fun. You got to do some special attacks based on the Disneyland rides, like the teacups and the pirate ship, which was pretty cool. And what I also liked, which I'm not sure if the gameplay trailers or if the live gameplay we have seen covered this, but you were able to switch keyblades on the fly. So in the demo, anyway, you got to choose between the Toy Story Keyblade, the Monsters, Inc. Keyblade, and the Tangled Keyblade, all of which were pretty damn powerful, and they were a joy to use as well. Now, the reason I'm just showing like gameplay footage that's already been on YouTube is because apparently Square are rather strict on you recording gameplay or anything involving the booths, because I got a quick panning shot, just a really quick one just to use for this video, and at the end of it, one of the guards watching was just looking at me and saying, you know, don't record that. You can't record that. Luckily, he didn't ask me to turn it off, to delete it rather. But yeah, even if he did, I wouldn't do it anyway, because yeah, these demos were already on YouTube. It's not like we've never seen them before, or they've added additional content to these demos, and it was strictly for the UK. No, these are the exact same demos that you've seen on YouTube, both for Olympus and for the Toy Story world. And you know, it wasn't really the guard's fault. I'm sure he was just doing his job, but it shocked me how strict Square is with showing off Kingdom Hearts 3 stuff. They even had like a little hashtag at the top of the banner saying hashtag share the magic, which I really hope they see maybe a hint of irony in that statement. Basically all it was just hashtag share the magic, but don't film it. But yeah, aside from getting needlessly shouted at, I did have an absolute blast playing Kingdom Hearts 3, even if it was just for a little bit and if the wait was really long. And unfortunately, it was because of the long wait that I didn't get to play Beat Saber, this VR rhythm game which used the PlayStation Move remote things, the Wiimote knockoffs, and it required a VR headset. Even if I couldn't afford it, it would have been nice to at least give it a shot, and I know my brother especially was looking forward to playing that, but unfortunately, they closed the registration, even though there was like still a few hours left of the event, which I really don't understand why. Yeah, other than that, there wasn't really much I got to play, aside from WarGroove, obviously, afterwards, which is a real shame, because I'm sure there were plenty of games I would have liked to try, like the Spyro Reignited trilogy, because believe it or not, I've never actually grown up with Spyro. I was very surprised to see that Spider-Man, the new one by Insomniac, got somehow more monitors dedicated to it than Kingdom Hearts 3 did, even though that game has been out for a couple of weeks now. And by the way, I do plan on doing a review of that, because that was really fun. I really had a good time with it. That was definitely the best Spider-Man game in years. I'll definitely be considering doing that after Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And I also got like this little badge set from one of the stalls. It's not brilliant, but it is cool that it is based on the game. So you got like re-elect Osborne as mayor, and you got the J. Jonah Jameson's little news stand, which was pretty cool. I mean, it's not brilliant, but it was still a rather neat gift. I thought it was better than the one you get for playing Kingdom Hearts 3. Each of the seats had like a little badge to it, and I'll just get it a little closer there. Just get it a little closer. So that's the badge there. Sorry, it's a little dark because the sun keeps going in and out. But yeah, there it is right there. You get to see that. It's not particularly great, in all honesty. I think it's a bit naff, and I know that Kingdom Hearts can do a little better than that, because they usually do metal pins and stuff, which are a lot better. But yeah, EGX was an overall pretty good time. I definitely plan on going to EGX again, because I had a really good time, and this was actually my very first one that I went to, so it was definitely a very good start. But thank you all for watching this video, and thank you to Chucklefish for taking the time to answer some questions for me, and I will see you guys at the Shadow of the Tomb Raider review.